Hello. I want to welcome you to this podcast. This is Ritual, Rituals for Instinctive Intelligence, and I'm your host, Victoria Richardson, a coach, a creator, and the founder of the RIC Instinct Code. It's a system that illuminates our human nature. And this podcast is where we're going to decode that natural intelligence and unlock our code to greatness. So I want to welcome you in. And we're going to be looking at everything through the lenses of conation, how we do what we do, energetics, the way that we're wired to move about in the world, and the subconscious mind that rules 95% of our day, our lives, our behaviors, our actions and reactions. We're going to explore what it means to live, to lead, and create from our deepest alignment and our innate design. This is our space to reconnect with the way that we're designed to move, lead, grow, and expand. And we're going to blend a little bit of science, a little bit of strategy, a little bit of soul, so that we can trust our instinctive wiring and honor our natural rhythms and really unlock that wisdom inside of us and what sets us apart. So today, I am going to be looking at President Trump and really asking the question, what if he wasn't just a political figure or a celebrity, but really a mirror? And in this deep dive, I'm going to unpack Trump's rapid instinct profile, the profile that you get with your RIC. And we're going to be revealing how some of his instinctive wiring shapes how he leads, reacts, and evolves. We're going to be looking at his unique blend of conation, energetics, and subconscious drives, uncovering both his gifts and his shadows, not to idolize or villainize, but to reflect on how our instincts can either lead us to destruction or transformation. Persuasion is power when it serves purpose, not pride. And no one embodies this quite like Donald Trump. So really what we want to focus on is instinct, right? I'm not trying to villainize. I'm not trying to give him a fan service either. Anybody who follows me knows that I'm not a big fan of his. But what I do want to do is I want to look at our human nature, the part of us that acts before we think, that pushes back without saying why or, thinking about why we're pushing back. And that part of us that moves fast, talks loud, and doesn't apologize. What if I told you that we each have a RIC, a rapid instinct code, a personal code for how we take action when we're being fully ourselves? It's not our personality. It's not our beliefs. It's not our value system. It's not our trauma. It's just our natural rhythm, our human nature. Donald Trump's RIC code is MG-RRIA. He's a manifesting generator in human design with a 1-3 profile, with an instinctive pattern where he is resistant in details and structure, fact finder and follow through. He's an initiator in action, quick start, and an adapter in the physical world, implementer. We call this profile the Bold Instigator. I think we can see him embodying that name. So yes, it moves mountains, but it can also burn bridges if unchecked. The gift of the Bold Instigator is that it's a rare and potent mix of initiating quick start energy, which sparks action, moves fast, provokes change. Double resistor zones in fact finder and follow through, which rejects over analysis and rigid systems. And he's adaptive in the physical, that implementer. It can move tactically in the real world environments. This person creates momentum. They shift conversations. They break patterns. They challenge norms. At their best, they inspire a movement and ignite bold possibilities when others stall in fear and analysis. Here's Donald Trump's rapid profile, a fusion of his instinctive strengths, conative rhythms, and energetic blueprint. So when you go and get your RIC, you get what's known as your rapid profile. RAPID is an acronym. R stands for rhythm. Your rhythm is your instinctive pattern of action. It's how you naturally take initiative, adapt to situations, or resist unnecessary pressure. It's the way you move about in life and when you're fully aligned with your instincts, not forcing yourself against your grain. Trump initiates in quick start. He acts first, explains later. Sometimes doesn't even explain. He resists both overthinking and structure. He's wired to spark movement, not follow protocol. When aligned, this creates momentum, but when misaligned, it creates total chaos. So what's our insight here? He initiates in quick start, meaning he's designed to disrupt and act without over-explaining or over-planning. His rhythm is fast, bold, and instinctual, less about process and more about provocation, with resistance in both structure, follow-through, and detail fact-finder. His power lives in spontaneity. His archetype, the bold instigator, reflects a nature that thrives on momentum, not moderation. And when I read that, it made me think of his golden palace, right? There's nothing moderate about Donald Trump. He's not here to explain, he's here to ignite. The A in the R.A.P.I.D profile stands for attraction. Your attraction reflects your core values and what draws people and opportunities and energy toward you. It's guided by our Venus placement in our human design chart, revealing the kinds of experiences, aesthetics, and relationships that feel most nourishing to our systems. His Venus gate happens to be in gate 45. The gift of this gate is synergy, and the shadow is dominance. He magnetizes attention through bold presence, but often confuses command with communion. People don't just follow him, they gather or they revolt. Insert King's Day protest. Or no King's Day protest. The Venus gate, I want to go a little bit more into. The shadow of the Venus gate for him, the gate of synergy, is dominance. The gift is synergy. The city, which is the highest expression of that energy, is communion. The metaphor is you hold the microphone and others gather when you speak. He's drawn to influence and command, and people are drawn to his unapologetic clarity. Venus in gate 45 means that his values are expressed through power, leadership, and the stage. He magnetizes attention not just because he wants it, but because he owns the room. The challenge is learning that true power comes from fostering synergy, not control. The P in the R.A.P.I.D profile is for power. The power is our internal fire. It's the motivation, protection, and instinctive drive that fuels our action. It's ruled by our Mars placement, which reveals how we assert ourselves, where we get fired up, and the battles that we are called to fight. Mars in gate 26 is the gate of artfulness, and the shadow is pride. At his best, he's a persuader with strategy. In the shadow, that persuasion becomes manipulation. Mars in gate 26, the shadow is pride, the gift is artfulness, and the city is invisibility. The metaphor is you persuade through presence, a showman with strategy. His drive is shaped by a strategic precision, the ability to shape opinion and influence perception. This gate brings the power of the salesman, but with a deeper call to integrity. When aligned, his artfulness becomes magnetic. When misused, pride can distort it into manipulation. He's a persuader at heart. Just be sure that his pitch aligns with principle. I in the R.A.P.I.D profile stands for intelligence. Your intelligence is where your gifts are expanded. This is driven by the Jupiter placement, and it shows our zone of genius where life wants to grow and how you can uplift others. Your human design profile also adds a unique layer to this particular aspect of your RIC profile. It's how your intelligence is expressed. Are you an experimenter, a role model, a natural investigator, a guide for others? His is in Jupiter, gate 29, the gift of devotion and the shadow of half-heartedness. He goes all in when it suits him, but when commitment wavers, the collapse is loud. This is where we're getting taco, right? Trump always chickens out. That's that shadow of half-heartedness. He's not all the way in. And so if we look at the shadow of this gate 29, that is the half-heartedness. The gift is commitment. The city is devotion. The metaphor is you lock in fully when you say yes, you go all in. With a 1-3 profile in human design, he's the establisher of knowledge and truth. The 1 is the investigator. It needs to know all the facts about what it's interested in. And the 3 is the experimenter. It learns by trial and error. His intelligence thrives in total commitment. When he chooses something, he does it big, bold, and all the way. Jupiter in gate 29 reminds us that partial passion leads to burnout. Paired with his 1-3 profile, his genius lies in deep dives and life lessons learned. He builds truth through his own experience and teaches it by embodying it, no matter how messy the path. D in the rapid profile is disruption. Disruption is your catalyst. It's the friction that forges your strength, and it's driven by our Saturn and Uranus placements in our human design charts. Saturn reflects our life's curriculum, the long-term lessons that we're here to master. Uranus reveals the part of us that refuses to conform. It's our inner rebel, our innovator, and our change agent. His Saturn is in gate 52, the lesson of stillness. His Uranus, gate 62, the rebellion of precision. His soul lesson is power is not just what you say or do. It's what you choose not to. Saturn in gate 52, the shadow is stress. The gift is restraint. The city is stillness. The metaphor is your strength is in knowing when not to strike. Uranus gate 62, the shadow is intellect. The gift is precision. The city is impeccability. The metaphor is you speak with impact when you sharpen your truth. His life curriculum is learning to wait before he acts, to sit in power without always unleashing it. He is wired to move fast, but Saturn teaches him to harness timing. And Uranus in gate 62, this is his rebel logic. When he does speak, it lands like a gavel. Precision is his hidden edge, even if it looks like chaos on the outside. I want to talk a little bit about the shadow side when instinct overpowers integration. When the gift of his profile goes unrefined, it turns sharp. Quick start becomes recklessly impulsive. Resistor energies become defensive with denial. Mars in gate 26, charm turns to manipulation. Saturn in 52 forgets the power of pause, learning to burn out in chaos. Trump's ability to spark energy and disrupt systems made him a force in politics. But unchecked, this same instinct created division, impulsive decision-making, and resistance to course correction. The wake of what we are seeing in America right now is the shadow of his natural instincts. It's not just a weakness when we look at the shadows. It's untempered instinct amplified without awareness. We have to look at the shadows in order to understand our level of development. And the shadow expression of this dominant disruptor that Trump is when those instincts overpower integration. It's when the unconscious behaviors are ruling everything around us. It's when our unprocessed trauma and wounds and hurts are coming out and being projected onto the collective. It's reactionary instead of revolutionary. It's loud instead of clear. It's charismatic but destabilizing. This is where instincts become identity, not wisdom. And let's be honest, Trump doesn't just act from his shadow. He illuminates it in himself, in ourselves, in our culture as a whole. He shows us what happens when instinct goes unquestioned. when pride overrides purpose, when power moves without pause. When out of alignment, this profile becomes impulsively forceful, reactive, and resistant in both feedback and structure. This is why we see so many people around Trump being yes men. Here's how the shadow can manifest across the different layers. So, instinctive shadow of quick start with that double resistor energy. Impulsivity as identity, acts without reflection, believing boldness is wisdom. Anti-structure extremism, rejects system, strategy, and collaboration, often seeing them as threats rather than tools. Reactionary leadership, provokes not to lead, but to stay in control, and can become addicted to chaos. The energetic shadow of his Mars gate in 26, pride, and Venus in gate 45, dominance. Charisma used for manipulation becomes more about winning the room than leading it with integrity. Pride as armor uses charm or showmanship to mask insecurity or lack of depth. Over-identification with power may confuse attention with love, dominance with respect. Saturn's shadow in gate 52, stress over stillness. Restlessness becomes volatility, lacks the patience to pause, leading to scattered or self-sabotaging decisions, avoids inner stillness, equates quiet with weakness, missing the depth of clarity that can only come with a pause. The mental shadow of a 1-3 profile in human design, the line 1 in shadow becomes stubbornly certain without true depth. It insists on being right without real research. I know everything about solar. I know everything there is to know about blah, 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 right? He becomes very certain and very salesman about the things that he knows everything about. And that's that shadow of the line 1. The line 3 shadow repeats mistakes without learning from them. It spins in drama rather than evolution. The core theme of his shadow is I act first, resist correction, and double down to preserve my pride. This profile shadow isn't bad, it's simply unaware of its influence. It leads without listening. It disrupts to be seen rather than to serve. It fears stillness because it exposes what control can't protect. This profile is what happens when instinct is amplified but not attuned. Trump doesn't need to be idolized or villainized. He becomes a mirror for the question, what happens when we let our instincts lead without accountability, reflection, or growth? You're not here to shut down your instincts. You're here to learn to lead with them and in alignment with them. Every RIC holds immense power. Power without self-awareness becomes self-sabotage. Donald Trump's story reminds us that the boldest instincts need the deepest integration. Instinct is not morality, it's momentum. You can channel it into destruction or transformation. The force itself is neutral. Trump's bold investigator MG-RRIA pattern shows us 1, what it looks like to initiate boldly, resist structure, and captivate attention, and 2, what happens when that fire is unchecked, when self-trust becomes ego and spontaneity becomes chaos. So the real invitation of this podcast is, how do I channel my own instincts, even if it's disruptive, into something impactful and integrated? I was just on a TikTok live, and this creator was saying that out of any president we've probably ever had, Donald Trump does have the real opportunity to create real change in America if he just focused on the things that matter instead of his resentments and his retributions. If he wanted to pass free healthcare for all, he probably could. If he wanted to pass pharmaceutical bans, he probably could. So I really want you to think about the soul of RIC and what it offers. The system shows us what it looks like when instinct leads without integration, and it gives us a map forward. Trump is a mirror. He reflects the truth of what can happen to any of us when our instincts are powerful but not aligned. This same expression, this MG-RRIA, holds tremendous potential. When aligned, it becomes a truth teller who moves crowds with conviction, a fire starter who doesn't need permission, a disruptor who serves something greater than ego, a leader who knows when not to lead. This profile can move nations, literally. It just needs integration to do it in a calm, constructive way. This isn't just about Trump, it's about all of us. If we've ever moved too fast to avoid stillness, if we've ever dominated when we didn't feel safe, if you've felt this shadow too, I want you to know that you're not broken. It makes you human. And RIC helps us name that rhythm so that we can work with it and not against it. And that's the invitation, not to idolize or villainize ourselves or anyone else, but to realize that we are not our reactions. We're just the rhythm beneath it. And when we understand our instincts, when we learn to lead with them, you can come home to your own power, not the loud kind, the true kind, the insourced kind. Donald Trump is a really good example that shows us the shadows. RIC shows us the way through it. And if you're in your own shadow right now, good. Because awareness is the first act of coming home to yourself and the key to your transformation. Now, here's why this matters. We live in a world obsessed with labeling each other left, right, black, white, male, female, rich, poor, woke, asleep. But beneath it all, we're all wired by instinct. We all move, protect, and resist and adapt before we even realize we're doing it. It goes beyond political ideology or beyond the continent that we live on. RIC gives us a way to name the rhythm and to honor it, to uncover our human instincts and our human nature. It's not about politics. It's not about ideology. It's about understanding how people take action so we can stop judging them and start healing the force beneath it. What if we could see each other through instincts, not assumptions? What if you knew your rhythm? What if you knew your best friends or your husband or your wives or your coworkers or your child's? RIC doesn't just explain Donald Trump, it explains all of us. And when we learn from our own rhythm and we honor each other's, we stop needing to control, we stop needing to convince, we just lead authentically, aligned, aware, and unshakably. When instinct isn't integrated, it becomes catastrophic. And it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to divide us. It can unify us. Thank you for attending this podcast episode and listening. Please subscribe if you like this kind of content. I'm going to be coming out with deeper dives into the RIC system, into the different archetypes, into the human design of it all and the conation of it all, talking about our subconscious minds and how that really directs a lot of our behaviors. My name is Victoria. I'm the Rapid Renegade, and I'll see you on the next episode.